Hi all, I'm Tony. This is SV Tapatya and we are building a cruising sailboat. Now, the boat's out of the water at the moment after our sea trials, and one of the things I noticed was that the rear crankshaft seal of the engine was leaking oil. And yeah, so it needs replacing. I've got the seal and it's time to attack it. It's a job that needs doing with the boat out of the water because you have to separate the engine from the sail drive. So I want to get on with it. I've shot a lot of video. I'll keep this part short so we can get to the video. This is a Volvo Penta 2010, so 20 series engine. It's a 2010 in this case. It's the same for a 2020, 2030. I believe the same process to change this oil seal. So let's have a look. Did a job, shouldn't it? Illumination.
Yeah, good. With that bit of wood under the propeller, it should support that sail drive, and I should just be able to pull the engine forwards, I believe. I'll take that out. Put that up here somewhere out of the way. So I've taken the 6 bolts out that go around where the sail drive attaches to the engine. They're all out. I'm going to leave the sail drive in place, take the bolts out of the engine mounts and try to slide it forwards, and hopefully that's going to work. So the engine mountings are undone, the sail drive's undone, and the goal now, I can see that the sail drive is cracked away from the engine a little bit, and try and pull the engine forwards far enough to get it off the spline on the sail drive and give me room to work on the back of the engine. I might need to put a bit of wood underneath just to support the back end, and I do have this brilliant piece of wood here which does that job. So it should just slide in there like that. It does. Yeah, that slid off there easily. Exactly, sail drive stayed there. Just drop down onto the piece of wood. That might do the job. So you see we're coming forwards there. This is the flange that mounts against that flange, so we're forwards 3 inches or so. And at the moment I'm hitting down here on the other side, but I'll see if I can get through there.
The sail drive can't fall out.
No, sail drive can't fall out. I've got a block of wood under it.
So on the list, it's this one, rear crankshaft seal. Getting less and less, the list.
So there we are, we're clear. Next job is to take that bell housing cover off. These all have these plastic washers on that give us the insulation between the sail drive and the bell housing, the engine, so we don't get stray electric current going to the sail drive. Right, there's the bell housing. It's that was at the top there, I think, wasn't it? It's all symmetrical, so it doesn't really matter. And then they go on there like that, don't they, as the insulation for that, stop that touching the. So here we are, I've taken the damper plate off, and now we've got these 4 bolts that hold the flywheel on. And Hazel's going to try to hold this front of the engine, stop it rotating, and hopefully we'll get those 4 undone. Right, okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get my knee in there. Yes, got it. 2 done. Fairly heavy this thing when I pass it to you. There's a load of water in there at some stage.
It's, yeah, it's pretty rusty.
So there it is. What we've got then, this one here is it's called the flywheel. It's just a big heavy mass, big heavy weight, and it's got the gear on that to start the motor engages in to turn the engine over to start it. See, it's been in water at some stage. Look at all that rust. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, but only on one side.
Yeah, at the bottom, no doubt.
some stage that stood in a load of water. But that's the flywheel. Its goal is to be heavy enough that when it's swinging, it keeps the engine rotating.
Okay.
That's what it does. This that bolts onto here like that. This is called, well, it's basically just a damper plate. It's got a rubber in there, look. So this black part is rubber, and the metal in the middle is joined to metal on the outside via that rubber. And it's well, it has two purposes. One is to take any shocks out of the drive so that the propeller turns smoothly and not lumpy. And secondly, to insulate the drive, so it's insulate the sail drive from the engine. So it's electrical insulation. That all looks good, it's in good nick. Apart from the fact it's clearly all been in water at some stage, which is very, very interesting. I bought this engine second hand, of course. And this, as you say, is just the cover for it, that one there. It just covers it all up, and the sail drive bolts to the downside of that. This is the inside we're looking at. So that is just really an adapter plate that this ring bolts to the engine, and these ones here, these 6 are the sail drive bolts to. So it simply allows the sail drive to bolt to the engine and changes the shape of it all. So that's what we've got there.
Have you ever taken it apart before?
This engine, no, never.
So it may have been in water when it was like standing in the shed or something?
No, that'll be, I bought it second hand, as I say, so it will have been in water there somewhere.
Okay.
From the previous owner. It wasn't in water in my shed. It's not been in water in my ownership of it. No way.
Okay.
So that's that. We've got to now take the next bit off that this bolts to. We've got to take the next layer off, and then the oil seal is revealed to us.
So what are you doing now?
I want to get this bell housing off now. So I've got this diesel filter that's fitted to it. Good, and then we've got a few bolts that hold this bell housing on, and they are in here somewhere. Yes. And they are 12s, and I'll need a ratchet with an extension for them.
Okay.
Please. 4, 7, 8 bolts in this set. It's number 6. Right, that's those 8 out of there. Just a quick look around, check us all. It is.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get the bell housing off as it was. I've now taken the alternator off and the starter motor off. Took the alternator off just to get the starter motor out. You can't get the starter motor out without taking the alternator off. So have a look down there, Hazel. Lots of free space. And hopefully we can get that bell housing off now. Yeah. Ready? There it is. And if you look at the back end of the bell housing, you can see it's undeniably leaking, which is good. That's the seal. It was a struggle to get that bell housing off. It's tight on it's got 2 location pins, one there and one up the top end there, and it was tight on those, and we had to fight to get it off, but we've done it. And you'll see, interestingly, that the engine is now balanced just on the 2 engine mounts. They're pretty central when you've got all that lot off, so the engine just sits nicely on those.
A proud creature, no? And it's gorgeous.
It's all right, look.
I'm there now, I'm at it, and I have access to the oil seal. I needed some tools because the oil seal seems to be fairly well stuck in there. It locates in a little recess, and I couldn't get it out with what I had here, so I brought some tools up. I shall attack that now, try and get it out, and then fit the new seal, try and get it back together again. There we go. That's lovely. There it is out. Easy when you've got the right tool. Clean that out. Oh, that's quite good. On. So just put the starter back in. Had to take that off. And you have to take the alternator off to get the starter off. So where these things go, but it's all easy enough really. Oh, that's good. And that's good. Starter on. Wiring obviously. Yellow and red goes up to the solenoid. Live there goes to the solenoid as well. As does the main thing from the battery. And the alternator. Comes up here, hangs up here like that. Oh, nice and easy. Yeah, that's good. So this bolt goes through the slider, obviously. Simple enough. Actually more of an alternator belt than a fan belt because there's no fan, but there we go. Old days. There we go, that's on there. And it's going to come up somewhere like that, look. Don't want to tighten this, but I just want to take the play out of it, so put it mainly in like that, so it will still slide. And with the tension of the belt, do that one up and then that one. So I've given the flywheel a good clean up. Get rid of the rust that was on it. There don't seem to be any markings. I thought there might be some timing markings on it, but I don't see any. Which is good, means it can go on any way it likes really. So good, time to get it on. So, put these 4 bolts on the flywheel. And we want to try to tighten those up. With the ratchet going the right way. It is going the right way. But, there we go. One. So, flywheel back on. Next thing up is the central damper plate. And then we get the cover back on. And we're getting close. Now this has to be completely insulated from the engine, so as these plastic strips that run around there, and this plastic gasket that goes on there, so it's no electrical conductivity. Plus one plastic bush thing that goes in the hole just to line everything up. Otherwise the bolts just go through the middle without touching anything. And I'm going to glue these on with a few dabs of super glue just to stop them falling out. Looks hopeful. So it's important to check that there's no continuity between the adapter plate and the engine, because
That's what all the insulation's for. So basically speaking, get your own meter out and test it. And you'll see no continuity there. Now, when I first put it on, there was. And then I just took these bolts out one at a time until I found the offender. So I took the bolt out, tested continuity until I got the bolt out that was causing the problem. And then it's these plastic washers that they get crumpled up a bit. You just straighten them out. Or if you're lucky enough to have a new one, put a new one on. And it sorts the problem out. But we're good now, no continuity. Back together, time to get the sail drive back onto the engine. How are we looking now? It's gone in, isn't it? Is it in? It might be. Certainly close. I could feel hopeful. And there we have it, done. That has taken roughly 5.5 hours, something like that for me. Now remember, of course, I filmed it, which takes a fair bit of time. It's the first time I've ever done it on that engine. Yeah, clearly I'm not as young as I used to was. And I didn't rush. So, you know, I'm quite happy with that. It's progress. And now it's all finished, engine's bolted down, everything's connected up. The alternator belt's tight. I've put it in gear and tried it, made sure that the propeller turns, which it does. So that bit is done. I've still got to run the diesel back to the tank, the return line back to the tank, and I've got to check the glow plugs that are not working. So I've got to trace through that, but other than that, we're all done, which is really good. That should go up and down easily enough, should it? I don't mind it being
A bit tight, but
yeah, just push it all the way down.
okay.
Alright, Hazel, how are we?
We are good.
Yeah,
All
lift it up, see if it stays there, about halfway. Leave it there. Let go. Yeah, that's pretty good, I think. Alright, looks good, I think.
I'll
Yeah,
put it down.
lovely. Yeah, that's nice. And it goes down on the stop in there. I don't know if you can see that stop. There's a stop in there. Clears through there. Beautiful. Job done. And use. Hold that basically speaking. And pop that up on there. On the glue. And then we're going to put. That's good. That's lovely. That's lovely. I want to come up. I'm going to come up like that really, or perhaps a fraction down. Okay, take it down. Yeah, I'm going to put that off and lay it on the hedge rack. Going to make up a bit of thickened epoxy, and I'm going to do that with my best jeans on, which is undeniably foolish.
That's the way all real boat builders do it.
Is that so? Bought these little tubs of Binker, the small ones, for on board. And the beauty of Binker epoxy is that it's a 2-to-1 mix, which means it's fairly forgiving. Especially this, where it's not structural or anyhow, it doesn't matter as long as it sets off, it'll be fine. Now the West system, which obviously is very good stuff, is a 5-to-1 mix, which is much harder to guess. I do understand some people may be going, don't guess.
Man. I know from experience this stuff comes out fine from approximation. I've got micro balloons which I'm going to use, and microfiber. I'll use a mix of the two.
What's the difference between micro balloons?
This stuff sands really easily. It's light, and the fibre, as the name suggests, fibre is much more structural.
It's already pretty thick.
Yeah, it's pretty thick. It was cold today, remember?
Oh.
So I went a bit thicker. I'd like to get it in there in a way that it doesn't sag out again. It goes in there and stays in there. Obviously it's got to fill the hole, so not too thick, but the thickness. I can work it in there and then it just stays in there. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, that's about right. See, that's peanut butter is what they say, isn't it? And that is pretty peanut butter, isn't it? Let's face it. That is. I don't know. That spread on there with a bit of jelly, lovely, and work that in there until it comes out the other side. A bit of film. See that?
Look at that. Oh yeah, it's oozing out
Is it?
already.
That's where my rag won't be used for needling on that anymore. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? That's full. I'll just let that set off. The other side there. It's gone well. Even take the gloves on is tricky.
But you're so good at it.
Oh, expert.
Natural.
Not 100%, but it'll be in a minute. No, it's 100%. Come back in a few days. Go back and adjust that back end. Now we'll have a look at that. It's already much better. Stirred already. Won't need very much. Just enough to get around the boat basically, so that'll be plenty, I'm sure. And it normally dries pretty quick, so with a bit of luck we get around twice today. Let's go more.
Be quiet, geese. Trying to film a video here. Okay, are we going a second time
We are
around?
straight on second coat. That's lovely. And see how much better that's covering as well.
Yeah, you can actually see a difference.
Yeah, it's massive. When you paint it like that, it looks straight, doesn't it? It's all over the mask. Oh, that look good.
Yeah, it does. It looks very good.
Well, the launch is getting ever nearer. We're about 3.5, as I speak to you now, about 3.5 weeks away from launching. And we're getting there. It's getting closer to being ready. I've got a few things still to do, obviously. And then we'll be off and trying to see what this boat really is capable of. The larger Benford dories have been quite successful in some sort of longer distance sailing. This is the baby of the bunch. Well, there are smaller ones, but it's one of the smaller ones, and we'll see what it can do. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching, and a massive thank you to the lovely people who support the project via Patreon or PayPal. You really do make this all possible. Talk to you soon.